ALGS Champs is approaching us fast, and we are just weeks away from finding out who will be crowned the world champion of Apex Legends. And we've got not only updated scrim results, but the POI drafts to talk about which teams got what location. It's pretty neat the way that they've already done this, preemptively going into this. And then also, we've got to talk about these bugs because it's getting bad. It's been bad. And how long will this stay bad? And will we be looking at surely not a bad world championship? It's kind of weird how priorities work in this game, because if it wasn't for champs coming up, I don't know when we would see a fix to this current bad situation we got going on right now. Let's dive and talk about what's going on in the scene. Oversight Esports, obviously your scrim results, your host, and really the breadth of life in this content world for ALGS right now. Have posted some latest updates. Scrims will resume on Monday. This was coming from last week. We haven't made a video in a bit, so I wanted to kind of catch up on some things. Falcon Esports on January 11th in first place. Luminosity, FaZe Clan, that was your top three. Stallions, Cloud9. We see some of these teams up here pretty often. Some of these teams kind of at the bottom pretty often as well. Team Liquid on yesterday's scrim result, actually 2 days, no, this was yesterday morning. These are the first scrim results, Group B and D. Team Liquid, Complexity, Stallions in your top three, Guild, Alliance, Lone Sharks, X Makers, Furia, VKG, Dreamfire. Once again, some of you, these APAC North teams struggling here as of recent, some, not all. And then you've got more recent ones. This is the yesterday scrim results, but in the evening, or like right after the morning one was completed. Cloud9 in first place, Moist Esports in second, Aurora in third, NRG, Orglis in Hungary, 100 Thieves, GHS, Eternal, Team Falcons, NIP in your top 10. Once again, I'm seeing Shadow 3690 here a lot, and then some others as well. Once again, it's just been like APAC North recently that I feel like I've been seeing a lot, but we've also seen some signs of life for APAC North, so not really trying to hate on them or anything. That's kind of been the recency bias if you want to consider it. Now, speaking of recency bias, I also think Moist Esports has really been at the top since the month of January has started. Maybe if you want to consider like, whatever they were on right before Christmas break or whatever. But I feel like Moist Esports has kind of come back. And since the scrims have resumed, I feel like they have been definitely a top team in all of these scrim results. So if you want to look at recency bias, you've definitely got to consider Moist Esports as a favorite going into this tournament. Now, someone actually on the Reddit page for Comp Apex named Scary Item 8942 had put together some international scrim results since November 11th all the way to January the 11th. These are pretty interesting results and really no surprise. Honestly, I would say maybe Falcons being number one was a surprise for me. I don't know why, but I would have thought like Moist Esports would have probably been number one. But Falcons are your number one team right now. And the count of all of these were 28 sets with an average score of 70.2. I do remember there was a pretty big spread of time where they were just going crazy and they were winning by a lot. Now, I know it may, sound crazy, the average points here at, 70, but I also want to just throw out there that they were not only just winning during that whole week or two that they had a really dominant performance. They were not just winning like Moist Esports was, because Moist was winning a lot. They were getting top three a lot, but they were winning, 69, 68 or, 71 and 72, whatever. And Falcons, on the other hand, they were winning by 20 point, 30 point differences a lot. You would actually see that in the comments over here. Someone say, remember when the Falcons were winning by 30 points every single scrim block? That was true. That's why their average is so high. You'll see all these other guys are pretty neck and neck. Falcons, on the other hand, well above everybody. And that was just because they had that week where they were decimating everybody. Falcons in first, though. Moist Esports internationally in second right now. Don't forget, these are your 40 teams playing in the ALGS World Championship. Team Liquid in third, Cloud9 in fourth, Fnatic in fifth, Luminosity currently in sixth, TSM in seventh, Lone Sharks in eighth, Alliance in ninth, Crazy Raccoon. I'll just finish out in order here. Complexity, Furia, NRG, Virtus Pro, Team Burger, 100 Thieves, Orglis in Hungary, Gaming Gladiators, Aurora, Eternal, Go Next, Stallions, X and Y, Dreamfire, Shadow 3690, Oblivion, Noctum, Guild, VKG, Makers, Dragon Esports, FaZe Clan, Reignite, Exo Clan, GHS, Ninjas in Pajamas, Meteor, Interforce 36, Primus Commanda, and Supernova. Those are your 40 teams in order right now from scrim results internationally. Now, it is important to note there's been some scrim bias with the servers, right? They've been playing on North America a lot. I think they're actually about to switch to Japan servers here, I think maybe this week, to get prepared for the championship. And so maybe you'll see some of those tides swing right there. Maybe APAC North has that ping advantage here going into these next couple of days of scrims, weeks of scrims, and maybe you'll see some of these things fluctuate and change. Also want to mention that the count of scrims are not necessarily equal either, right? You've got, some of these teams only 8-9 blocks of scrims, others have 28 blocks of scrims. So just give it, take it with a grain of salt, if you will. But these are some interesting stats, to say the least, going into this. Moist Esports, Team Falcons, Team Liquid, all three North American squads looking very promising going into this. And honestly, top 4, Cloud9 as well. You can see how heavily favored North America is right now. I mean, of the top 15, you've only got 4 non-North American teams. So just go figure. These guys are really, really stacked this year, and they're looking good as far as scrim results are concerned. But when you look at split playoffs and you see that APAC North has already won once this year, I don't necessarily think North America has locked this victory in quite yet, especially with the current meta. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be wild. I think it's very likely that you will get some crazy match point scenario where some non-North American team is able to pull it out in the end. Now, also wanted to mention, Oversight Esports had showed the POI draft results coming from, this draft that had taken place a couple of days ago. This is back on the 12th. And Group A and B and Group C and D, and then basically they go through each single group scenario, because you're going to have A play B, A play C, C play D. Everybody's playing everybody basically at some point. All of those POI drafts have already been determined. They've already drafted all these for like each set of matches. So you're not going to have to like go through live or anything, or like wait for them to react to one another. It's already been done. So you can kind of talk about these matches ahead of time, even days beforehand. So you've got Moist Esports with the Sky West Trials drop on World's Edge. That's going to be big for a team that already has a pretty good favorite going into this. So Moist Esports getting that drop that I know they wanted is very good for them. 100 Thieves obviously going for Thermal Station. Why wouldn't they? I feel like Timmy and Design have just lived at Thermal Station for the longest time. And so no surprise to see them take that POI, but a lot of pretty good, solid POIs, picked up by some solid teams. And there's really been no crazy upset or crazy disadvantage that I've really noticed so far. If you want to consider TSM at Mirage, maybe, but TSM is a very good team. Mirage is not the world's ending, and I think these guys will be just fine. They also got Down Beast inside of Stormpoint. Not a bad drop for them either. They're also right next to Northpad, which, no offense, has Oblivion. I think TSM could take Oblivion if they really needed that extra POI or wanted to take that fight pretty early. Over here, though, you do got Pylon here, owned by Complexity. This is another team. Don't count out Complexity, because they were one of those teams going in earlier in the year. You were kind of like, Complexity's going to bottom out. They're going to need another roster change. Monsoon's not working out, all that stuff. You remember last year champs, right? There were some deep concerns about Complexity. Well, they have definitely been a different Complexity this year, and I think they've turned up. Now, can they rechannel that, same Complexity that we saw in times past? I don't know. That's obviously the big one that we're going to have to find out here at the tournament. And then going into E-District as well, I don't really think there are any crazy surprises going into some of these POI drafts. I think there's a lot of reps for every single team. I'm not going to hone down too much on all of these, because there's a lot of teams to go through, a lot of group matches that will be played. Honestly, I would just say, if you want to pause the video, I'll go through each picture. If you want to look at it, if you want to pause the video and see who's landing where, who's going where, then maybe this will be some value for you. But overall, I do think it will be pretty exciting to see how E-District does in the World Championship this year, being that it was starting off as a BLGS map. They finally added this. We did not see this, however, in the Split 2 playoffs. We did not see this in the Split 1 playoffs. This is totally new. So I'm interested to see how this plays out for the World Championship. I think it will be a big event. I think Japan's going to be huge. What a great place to host this at. Definitely needed in this time of drought right now for Apex. So let's hope that Japan delivers, because I think they will put on a good show. The crowd's probably going to be amazing. I've heard, like 30,000 maybe plus people or so. So I know that the crowd's got to be good. That's a lot of people there. And as long as they got the mic set up to where you can actually feel the energy while you're watching online, then it should be pretty good. Let's just hope that they can actually deliver a good production, and maybe we'll be looking solid. Because it's things like this that make the whole scene really, really rough. We've been dealing with bugs, glitches, and people complaining about the state of the game. That's old news, we know. Now, after all of this has gotten bad, you've had the release of these leaks of mythic skins, mythic grenades coming, a mythic R301. And it's already got 2 recolors, like crazy microtransaction again. Now, this is not good considering things have already been bad, and now they're toppling on all of that negativity with more microtransactions. Not a good look. And on top of that, you're continuing with bugs that were released weeks ago that have taken so much time to get attention to. And it seems like the devs obviously are not, or I don't know who's calling the shot here, but like you've got a game-breaking issue right now with the invisible zone that has been in the game for a pretty long time. And some of these bugs and glitches and such, whenever they were released in the patch, some of these were, I guess, hot fixed, or they didn't last for too long. It wasn't that bad, but some of these big ones have still been in the game. Some of these big ones have been ruining the game, and it's not a good look at all. And obviously you got to hope that this is going to be fixed before champs. I would imagine so, but obviously that would be terrible if it wasn't. And just before you rule that out of the realm of possibility, don't forget that we witnessed ALGS Year 2 champs where teams were showing up as a duo and playing as a duo. I think it was because of COVID. Like when a player got COVID, you would think, oh, well, they got COVID room, or maybe allow them to play from their hotel room, or maybe quarantine them inside of the venue at a certain room where they could play. No, they had to play as a duo. So like you were just basically riding the whole event on hoping you didn't test positive. Like that was insane to watch. And you had one player, or you had one team that just played the entire tournament as a duo and were able to qualify, and everybody was rooting for them going into the next round. But it was chalked. It was like, okay, I guess whatever. But like when you're watching this and they're playing a man down, it doesn't feel like an organized esport. It doesn't feel like something that's a professional production. I don't want to see that anymore. I don't want to see game-breaking bugs or glitches like this in the game and just say, oh, well, they'll get to it when they can. It's not an excuse. This needs to be finalized. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be organized. It needs to look crisp, clean, and good. And I'm afraid that we're at a state of Apex right now where it's honestly hard to ask for that, because it's not the norm. It's not the industry standard to get crisp, clean, and good. This is just weeks after, you know, these updates have been made, and here's what we're still looking at. If you haven't seen the recent frustration from Mr. Sweetdreams from LG, well, here you go.
There it goes. I won't know.
Fight it. Cat's fried. I'm batting.
Give me one back. I hit him 30 perp. I'm taking one. I knocked one. You got the one. I'm pulling.
Do it.
Yeah,
They died too.
Just stay there.
I'm playing slow. It's just a cat crouch there. I'm healing.
I'm gonna climb over and bump.
I'm dead to gas too. You have to fight her. She's low. Needs 70 health on her. Oh no. I mean, the gas. This game is so bad. The devs are fucking horrible. The gas is just completely invisible. Oh my god. Lock the in. Our game is fucking dying, and the devs are on fucking drugs. Everything is broken in this game. Jesus Christ. Holy how the is all these things going wrong at the same time, at the worst time ever? The gas is completely invisible. Good lord.
So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with what's going on inside the world of Apex Legends esports news. We'll keep you up to date with live results here on the channel as well, roster drama, roster updates. Obviously, I'm predicting many announcements will be made after champs, so make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to stay tuned in. Until the next time, we'll see you all later, Gators.